feel so privileged to be in the presence of many people. Dan can go first.
Ruthie, your middle name is after Esther Fleischman, my grandmother. Ruthie, for many years when I was growing up, Grandma had an incredible amount of energy for a person of her age or any age. She would come to our house on Friday night and talk for hours. At a certain point, she would say, "Well, if they aren't bringing out any more food, I guess I'll get going." And she would sit and talk for another hour. She had an incredible devotion to family, and she was always on the move. I remember going with Grandma to play paddleball at Edgewood Park in New Haven as a small boy. I remember sitting between Grandma and Grandpa in the front seat of Grandpa's Lincoln Town car, driving through the hills of upstate New York to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. Grandma had an incredible openness that allowed her to make friends with anyone. She would strike up conversations with every stranger in the grocery checkout. Now, Ruthie, it may surprise you to learn that Grandma Esther was quite different from your two bubbies. No, she was not the kind of grandma who doted on her grandchildren with chicken soup. Her culinary signature was egg soup, which consisted of a hard-boiled egg mashed in salt water at the start of the Passover Seder. Hers was an era of sponge baths, coin-operated furnaces, and children who slept 3 to a bed. She saw my vegetarianism as the first step down a slippery slope of indulgent alternative lifestyles that would result in my joining a commune. I think she viewed the financial crisis of the late 2000s as a sign that the world was heading back towards its rightful equilibrium, where life is hard. Ruthie, you must try to understand your great-grandmother Esther. Grandma's mother came over alone on a boat from Europe as a small girl. Her father worked in a clock factory and was a small-time socialist politician. She was the 5th of 6 children, and she had to fight for attention as the youngest girl. She worked with my grandfather to raise themselves up by the bootstraps and create a comfortable middle-class life. They traveled the world in their retirement, talking to everyone they met, ambassadors of American thrift, cheer, and hard work. Ruthie, Grandma Esther and I had a wonderful letter-writing relationship. I made sure to send Grandma letters from everywhere I went. Grandma would respond with articles that she clipped for me, pithy advice, or news from home. Reading these letters years later, I have an invaluable record of our relationship. Ruthie, we hope that in our fast-paced world of email and Instagram, you continue to write letters to people that you love and that love you. Ruthie, the name Esther is related to the Hebrew word hester or seter, which means hidden or concealed. And indeed, Grandma could be a very private person. She had a tendency to retreat into herself for reasons that could be obscure to those who loved her. Ruthie, we want you to understand that it is always okay to ask for help and that we are always here for you. Ruthie, I met your mother just a few months after Grandma passed away on the 2nd day of Sukkot in 2011. This coming Tuesday will mark her 5th yahrzeit. Grandma did not know your mother, but she would have loved her. Jodie has so many of the qualities that Grandma adored: sincerity, kindness, devotion to family and friends, and a killer cornball sense of humor. Ruthie, we hope that you approach every day as your namesake Esther did, as a day filled with possibility, with the expectation that you can live your life as you will it and to its fullest. We hope that when you smile, you will have some of Grandma Esther's smile, a smile that shone with unalloyed sincerity and joy. And we know that you would have been just beaming to see you.
Ruthie, your first name Ruth is after my bubby Ruth Hirschberg. I feel so privileged to be in the presence of many people who knew and loved her, including my Zadie Jo, her sister Mickey, sister-in-law Shirley, children Bunny and Amy, and me, my sister and brother, along with many more who knew her well. Ruthie, you are named after a woman who was the matriarch of our family. It's somewhat stereotypical, but it's true when I say that Bubby Ruth held our family together with her chicken soup and brisket and Shabbat meals. Bubby Ruth brought people together in her home, but more than that, she made each individual feel welcome in her home. She had a way of making every person she was with feel special. Bubby was wonderfully informal. Sometimes when we were sleeping over, she would wake us up really late to go sneak more dessert. Like many in my family, she was a major chocolate lover, though I'm not sure anyone can rival Zadie Jo. Bubby Ruth was kind and warm and exuded Jewishness, even if she used expletives more than most bubbies you might know. Bubby Ruthie was a great sister, mother, bubby, and wife. She was also a dear friend to many. I had a very close relationship with her, and remember lighting up inside when she called me her special friend. Ruthie, your Hebrew name is Reut, which means friendship. We hope that you will be blessed with beautiful, strong friendships throughout your life, just like Bubby had. Bobby Ruth was a good friend and an exceptionally caring and aware mother. My mom tells the story of the time she was at the doctor's office with me when I was a sick baby, and my sister and brother were running around, and my mom was feeling desperate for help. Out of nowhere, Bobby Ruth just showed up. Remember, Ruthie, these were simpler times, before cell phones and Facebook. Bobby Ruth operated on her instincts and her gut, and showed up when she felt she was needed. I hope that you will have the same good instincts, and that you'll follow your gut when it tells you the right thing to do, just like Bobby Ruth would. Bobby Ruthie did so much to sustain the Jewish life of our family. She loved the Milwaukee Jewish Day School, a place that I know you will hold close to your heart too. And from her home, I learned to light Shabbat candles, ideally with a shmata over my head. I learned to associate the smell of chicken soup with quality family time, and I learned what it means to be the matriarch of a family. Ruthie, we also chose her name because of the story we read about Ruth on Shavuot. I've always felt compelled by this famous story, probably because its main character shared a name with my beloved Bubby, but also because it contains such a powerful lesson. In the story, Ruth is praised for her great loyalty to her mother-in-law, Naomi. She states the famous line, "Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God." We pray that you will be loyal and dedicated to Judaism like the biblical Ruth. In the story, Ruth is willing to leave everything she knew to travel to an unknown place. We hope that you will possess that same free spirit and openness to new ideas and adventures. In life, the hardest thing to find is balance. We pray that you will one day create a loving Jewish home, and we also pray that you will live a life full of adventures that allow you to encounter new ideas and people.